morning, everybody, and happy Saturday from a rather chilly and rainy Maine. Absolutely. Oh, I see the Yarny user here. I love it so much. Doris and Connie and Lydia and Julie and Katrin and Lorianne and Valera and others. Liz is here. Oh, I love it so much. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning with me. Sharon's here. Doris is here. I don't remember who I've mentioned and who I haven't. I'm going to apologize in advance for the glare on my glasses. So you can see my screen through my glasses. So I'm going to apologize. If I hold my head like this, you don't see it so much, but that would be weird for me to do the entire podcast with my head like this. Mary is here. Deb is here. Dion's here. Hi, Judy is here. Diane is here. Oh, I'm so glad everybody's here. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. We have some goodies to get to today. But I just thought I would start with a little update about what has been happening up here in Maine. Eventually, I will not be talking so much about our transition to Maine, but we've been here for a week. Let's see, we got here a week ago yesterday and closed on the house. So that's only been like a week. It feels like it's been 6 months. And then last Saturday is when the big moving semi came and unloaded all of the boxes and all of the goodies to fill up the house. And then we were just in immediate overwhelm mode. There were so many boxes and so many things everywhere. And initially, when they started bringing things in, I was trying to keep up, oh, quick, get this undone and put it someplace. That doesn't work. I could not keep up. There was no way I was going to have the whole house unpacked in the, 6 hours it took them probably to unpack the semi. So that was just really poor planning on my part to think that I could do that. Duh. And then it was overwhelmed, but that's normal when you move. Overwhelm definitely happens. And you can see behind me, I'm actually in the new studio space now. And you see the boxes behind me. I haven't even been able to really start unpacking up here yet, because right now it has been all about getting the kitchen unpacked, getting the living room unpacked, getting our bedroom unpacked, and basically our basic living area unpacked. I am happy to say that the kitchen is about 90% complete. Yay! And there's something about the kitchen being the heart of a home that makes you feel a bit more settled. Those of you who are my Facebook friends, my personal Facebook friends, may have noticed yesterday I posted 2 photos. I think they were both yesterday. Time is kind of blurring into each other. One of them was a picture of 2 cups of tea and a glass milk jug. We went to a farm store that's about a half hour from here in New Hampshire, and they had farm fresh eggs, farm fresh milk in glass milk jugs. And I was so happy about that. It was hard not to do this happy dance right outside of the place. I've wanted milk in glass jugs. I don't know why that's a thing for me. We actually bought glass jugs a few years ago and started pouring our milk into them just because I liked it better than the plastic. But now we can just buy it from the farm stand and get it. And then you take your glass milk jug back and you get a $2 credit, the whole deposit thing. You get a $2 credit on your next half gallon of milk. So, and then yesterday was, every day has had its challenges. And I know many of you have said, oh, moving is always a challenge. That is true. But with this particular house, we have had some challenges that there's no way that somebody could really anticipate. They're just silly little things that all together have accumulated to be a little overwhelming at times. So for example, we went to Lowe's and we purchased a brand new washer and dryer. There's a laundry closet in the house, not a laundry room, but it's a really deep closet. And we measured it and our realtor was like, oh yeah, no problem. You can put any kind of washer and dryer in there. It'll be fine. We, for the first time in our lives, ordered front loaders. The guys came yesterday to deliver them, and I was really excited to get some laundry done. And I had come up here in the studio to start working, and I heard Jim downstairs after about 20 minutes go, Michelle, we need you to come down. There's a problem. Of course there's a problem. So I went down, and sure, The washer and dryer, the front loaders fit great in the closet, but the way the doors are built, you can't open the doors on either the washer or the dryer sufficiently to be able to load and unload clothes into them. So they're going to have to stack them, which is not an issue. They're made to stack, but you have to buy a whole nother stack kit, and they didn't have one on the truck. And so we had to call the store. That'll be delivered Monday, and then they'll install it. And so it's, again, I'll still have a washer and dryer. Everything's going to be fine. But it's just these little things that have been happening. We locked ourselves out the other day, which is a whole nother crazy story. But it's all going to be fine. And it just takes a little bit of time. But we are not daunted because we are absolutely loving Maine. The house is great. The area that we're in is beautiful. And I even love the chilly weather, even though I'm dressed like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man today from Ghostbusters. But I love the weather, and it's damp today. It's definitely raining, but it's cool and it's wonderful. So yesterday, we get back to my story. Yesterday, after the washer and dryer fiasco, I was like, I just need to do something that is familiar and comforting and all of that. And so I baked my first pound cake. Many of you know that I love making those pound cakes, and baked my first pound cake with the farm fresh eggs and everything. And it turned out really well. We have friends that are here right now from Pennsylvania. They're downstairs right now unpacking and helping. And so I made the pound cake so that we would have one when they came, and the house smelled heavenly and wonderful and all of those things. So that felt really, really good. And the pound cake tastes great because of those farm fresh eggs. So all of that is good. Julie's asking me how the pups are adjusting. They are adjusting. The trip up was a little difficult for them because they're not really great travelers in the vehicle, but they finally kind of got into the rhythm and understood what was happening. And it's a funny thing how we know they're adjusting. So in the past, in the afternoon, after we take them on their afternoon walk after dinner, they would come back to the house and they got greenies, those greenies that for dogs, they're like dental chews. And we would pop them in half and give the smaller half to Sadie because she snarfles everything so fast it makes her sick. Give the larger half to Cooper. I say half. Clearly it wasn't, exactly half. But you know what I mean, like in half. And Cooper at our home in Florida would always take his half and race off. Like we joked that it was the fastest we ever saw Cooper move. He would race off to our bedroom to eat his in peace, so Sadie didn't try to get it from him. Well, we've been in hotel rooms and at friends' houses, and so he didn't know where to go with his half. And finally, I think it was yesterday was the first day when he got his greenie. He actually took it and ran into the master bedroom. So Jim and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, okay, we think now they know that this is home and that's the master bedroom. And so things are on track. So they are definitely adjusting. There was a little bit of like that snowy remnant that was icy on the ground in some areas when we arrived, and Cooper just kind of stayed clear of it. Sadie was like, "What's this?" and jumped on the pile and was, sniffing around and everything. So I can't wait to see what they do come this winter here in Maine when the snow starts falling. It's going to be very, very interesting, I do think. So we're getting there. I say all that to say you guys have been so supportive and so wonderful. I did intend to be a bit more present and a bit more in the thick of things in terms of Olive and 2U Studios by now. I don't know why I thought I could do that a week after moving, but I think that was unreasonable. So I'm still here. I'm still working behind the scenes. Olive and 2U is still staying very busy. Monica is shipping and doing all the things back in Winter Park, Florida. That is still our shipping home base, and all of that is still occurring. I just am not as present right now as I will soon be. But I do expect in the next couple of weeks, things will settle down and I will be back to it in a much more public sort of way. I'll be much more present. That is my goal. So I'm still here. Olive and 2U is still here. Nothing's changing about that. I just needed a little more downtime to get my life in order. Look at this mess. This is the studio. So, Yeah. But the good news is I've got new yarn on the way to me from Sherry and Terry of Lonesome Pine Yarn Works, who is sending me some hank. So hopefully by next Saturday's podcast, I'll have some yarn to show you, which is awesome. And it is definitely happening slowly. But you all, I am so grateful for your kindness, your grace. I keep saying that. And I promise eventually the updates from Maine will kind of taper off because it'll become more normal. But it has been a transition. And I think that instead of being at the end of it right now, we're actually in the thick of things. We're still transitioning, still trying to get things done. We're so grateful that our friends came up from Reading, Pennsylvania to help us unpack. Jan is like a tornado of productivity. Her husband said, and it makes her happy. So just let her do it. So she just unpacked my mother's crystal that made it safely here. And I was really, really happy about that. So we're opening up still the high value boxes. My big Janome sewing machine is in a giant box. We haven't opened it yet, but I'm hoping that that made it intact. But so far, pretty much everything has. We've had a couple broken items, but nothing really, really significant. So that's a good thing. I'm glad that they're here today to help us continue on this really crazy, fun adventure and transition. We do love this space. I don't know if you saw, we do believe there was a bear in our backyard this past week because we saw evidence of a bear. That's what we're going to call it. Evidence of a bear. The only kind of evidence that, animals tend to leave behind. So Jim is getting lessons in bear spray today and we're getting some bear spray, not because we want to use it, but just to be safe in the event that we're out walking the dogs and yes, that's the word, Julie. Thank you. Just in case we come across something that we don't expect while we're walking the dogs in the woods or something like that. And yes, we've seen our first tick. And so we're being tick aware and making sure that the dogs are actually on medicine for fleas and ticks, but we're taking some other precautions as well. Jim had one on his neck the other day. It had not attached. It was just, he felt it crawling and we got it off and killed it. So also bears and ticks, and then black flies come the summer. So all the things we're learning about, it is a giant, giant adventure. So I'm so grateful for all of you. But we have other things to talk about today. We've got yarny things to talk about today, and we have prizes to give away today, which I'm very excited about. Yes, I have my requisite cup of tea this morning. I also have molasses gingerbread cookies. That is the breakfast of champions right there. That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, let's talk about the April Cancer Awareness colorways dyed up by Lonesome Pine Yarn Works, Sherry and Terry. So 3 cancers this month. We're highlighting testicular cancer, esophageal cancer, and then, of course, head and neck cancer. So there are many months that have multiple cancers. And the way that Sherry and Terry are handling that is the 100-gram skeins is kind of a composite of all of the colors assigned by the American Cancer Association for those cancers. And then they have parsed out those individual colors to create minis that go along with the 100-gram hank. So this month you have Live Strong, which is a composite of all the colorways, all the colors assigned to those cancers. And then you have the minis for each individual cancer. There's Head Off Cancer. There's some different of the minis. There are 3 minis, which are available in both fingering Alcott's and then also the DK Hawthorne weight that you can get. And of course, if you've already subscribed to the Cancer Colorways, those have been shipped out to you now, I do believe, or will be shipped on Monday. And then, but there are still some left in the shop that you can order as one-offs if you haven't done the subscription. So those are available. They're beautiful. You can see them down below in the shop here on YouTube, and you can also go on our website. They are the featured product this week on the front page of our website, so you can choose the ones that you want for that. Then also up this week that I'm very, very excited about, and we're going to get to a few whips in just a minute, is the Bamboo Shoots Knit Along. Nancy Victorino, aka KnitwiseTE, is the author of that pattern, and I have heard such good feedback. All of you who are doing that pattern are loving it. You're loving the simplicity of it. The main pattern is very social knitting worthy. In other words, there's not a lot that you have to really keep track of and, mark down like you do some patterns. You don't need to annotate this pattern as a general rule, but it's pretty simple to knit the base pattern. And then you get to encounter those fun new techniques, the surface crochet, and then the making of the tassels, the twisted tassels at the end. So I know many of you are working on that pattern. Now, I want to mention we are going to have prizes for that pattern, for that knit along. And there are 2 ways to win. And I'm not sure all of you have heard the 2 ways. All of you, see what I did there? All of you. So I want to go ahead and highlight those really quickly. The first way to win is what we often do. Actually, both ways is what we often do, but we've parsed them out this time. The first way to win is take progress photos of your project as you're rolling along with it. Every single photo that you post in the official thread in the Yarn I Use Facebook group is an entry to win a prize towards the end. So I recommend you take a lot of photos of your projects. Knit 5 rows, take a photo. Knit another 5, take another photo. The more that you can take photos of your project and your progress, the more chances there are to win. The trick is they do need to be posted in the official thread in the Yarn I Use Facebook group. And if you're not sure where to find that, the easiest thing to do is to click the featured tab at the top. And under that tab, you'll see all of the featured posts that we've made. Featured posts are posts that we just want to make sure that you see. The way that works on Facebook typically is the first time that you log into Facebook after we've posted a featured post, it should pop right up for you and you'll see it. But if you missed it or don't remember seeing it, or you're having trouble finding it through scrolling through, you can just click the featured tab at the top of the Facebook group and all of the featured posts will appear there for you. That includes any featured sales posts that we have as well, where we're doing running features and running discounts and things like that. So that's how you find the official thread for the Bamboo Shoots Knit Along. The other way that you can win, and I want to really, really encourage you to do this. In fact, I might even give away a second prize for this. If you are on Ravelry, I know some of you choose not to use Ravelry, and that's perfectly fine. You're still prize eligible. The more photos you post in the Yarn I Use Facebook group on the thread, the more chances you have to win. But if you are a Ravelry user, then we ask that you make a project page with the Bamboo Shoots pattern. Go ahead and tag Nancy Victorino or KnitwiseTE on Ravelry as the pattern designer. And then also please tag and post which of the Olive and 2U Studios yarn you're using for the knit along. So the folks who are able to do those project pages on Ravelry have another avenue for winning a prize. Everybody's prize eligible. We're not excluding anybody, but there's another avenue available if you take that extra step and create a Ravelry page and tag Nancy and tag the Olive and 2U yarn. The reason that we ask you to do that is actually thricefold. Is that a right term? Threefold. It's threefold. So the first one is obviously it helps out the designer. You and I both know that when you go on Ravelry and you're looking at a pattern, you're looking to see how many projects there are. It tells you right on that first page. And then you go into those projects. So it's helpful. The more projects that there are with that pattern, the more credibility those patterns tend to have, at least at first blush. It doesn't mean that patterns that don't have a lot of projects are not credible, but we're humans and we make quick judgments. So it helps Nancy out if you go ahead and make a project page for that pattern. Same thing about the Olive and 2U yarn. If you show Olive and 2U yarn, that helps us out tremendously. There are so many ways to help small businesses apart from purchases. Purchases absolutely help small businesses. Please continue your purchases. I can't stay in business without them, but there are lots of ways that you can support a small business without spending money. And one of those is just like this, highlighting the yarn that you use, tagging the Olive and 2U Studios yarn on your Ravelry projects, and then we get some credit for that. It's helpful. It doesn't translate to dollars directly, but it does indirectly because then people see it, they learn about it, and they use it more. So that's the second way. The third way that it's helpful is I think we've all, if you use Ravelry at all, you've probably been the recipient of this, is those projects I mentioned, we go into those. When you look at a pattern and you want to see the projects that are done because it helps you with maybe color selection, it gives you a sense if people had issues with a particular part of the pattern. There's so much that we can learn from each other when it comes to working on projects that people have already worked on, right? We get the benefit of their experience and their knowledge by looking at those Ravelry project pages. So those are 3 good reasons to go ahead and make a Ravelry project page if you use Ravelry. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. And then of course, the 4th for this knit along is you have an extra chance to win. And that's never a bad thing. So don't forget to make your project page if you're a Ravelry user. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I have not been good about that in the past. So I'm going to start to do as I say and not say, do as I do, not as I say. I'm saying it, I'm going to start doing it. So I've been a poor role model, but understanding now how all of that really helps, I'm going to do better. Do better when you know better, right? I know better. So I'm going to start doing better with my project pages on Ravelry. And I encourage you to do the same. So that being said, I'm going to take a big old sip of tea, and then we're going to get in and look at some of the gorgeous projects in the Bamboo Shoots knit along, shall we? Let's just take a look at those. Alrighty, dighty. We've just got a few this morning. Nancy Victorino, who I mentioned is the pattern designer, and it's pretty awesome. She had started. Now she's posted some other progress pictures as well. She was working on the neutral colorway this time for this. So she said that she's using flashcards to keep her place in the pattern, which I think is pretty innovative and smart. So she's going to use that darker moody down there for her main colorway, and then the grayish on top for that surface crochet detail. I think that's going to look great and be so incredibly neutral. Next up, Mary St. John Nielsen. She said she was a little late to the party, but she was making progress. She's definitely making progress. I've spoken with her a few times, and she's still making, progress on that. She's a little late to the party because she's been working on something else behind the scenes for us at Olive and 2U Studios. So I love the colors that she's using as well. What did I do? Did I add the same thing twice? Of course I did. And I missed one of the other ones. I don't know how that happened. So let's move on here. Julie Garland. She said she started early because she wanted to do all the knit alongs as well as some other fundraising knitting. And she too loves the pattern. And it looks so good. Looks so good, Julie. All right. Somebody else, Becky Brown had posted one of the progress photos. And that was the other one I think that I tried to get in here and didn't quite make it. But you all are definitely making progress on the Bamboo Shoots knit along. So keep it up. Now, I want to mention all the knit alongs that Julie's talking about. We have some other knit alongs that are coming. We've got Lydia Biram that's going to be working on a sweater knit along. And then we've got some other knit alongs coming up the bend. So just be aware of those, working behind the scenes on getting those all organized, and we'll get you the information as soon as those are available. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So many of you did in fact participate in the Where in the World Are You games as I was on my way to Maine. I did the best I could on that, y'all. We were on the road and I was trying to post photos and trying to show bits of the trip, all the while trying to keep the dogs calm and driving and all those things. But you all were fun guessers, I have to tell you. It was a lot of fun. I posted pictures in several different locations that we were in, and I know many of you watched the live with Sherry and Terry of Lonesome Pine Yarn Works when I kind of crashed their dye studio up in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. And then we did some other things along the way. The cherry blossoms were beautiful. Of course, we had the joy of traveling to Lancaster County, PA with our friends Greg and Jan, who are downstairs right now. I had never been to Lancaster County, PA before. And oh gosh, we bought all the things there in terms of, pies and sweets. I tried shoe fly pie for the very first time, and it was good. It was sweet, but it was really good. And we had a great time in Lancaster County. We got to see the horse and buggies. We went to the yarn shop. We went to a quilt shop. I went to a loom shop, but unfortunately they were closed. Even though the sign on the door said they would be open, they were closed. But did some other things, and we had a great time. And so many of you played along, and some of the pictures I know were very nondescript, and it was hard to sort of venture a guess of where we were, but many of you did. So we have 2 winners this morning for Where in the World Are You? The first winner is very, very competitive when it comes to games, and a $50 electronic gift card will be emailed today to Lydia Beerham. Congratulations, Lydia. You guessed lots of correct places and had a good time with it, as you always do with games. So I'll be getting out your $50 gift card to the shop probably sometime later this morning. So thank you for that. And then the next winner of the Where in the World Are You game is also a competitive player when it comes to these things, and she had a good time guessing. So congratulations to Julie Garland. Julie's going to get a $25 gift card to the shop this morning. So thank you so much for playing along, everybody. Thanks for being a part of our journey up to Maine, and for sticking around in the Yarn Use and having a good time with everything and being so incredibly supportive. I have to tell you, your support means the world to me along the way. So I'm still unpacking boxes, and I wanted to give you really quickly an update on all the things about my knitting. Before I left, I had said, I'm going to cast on that sweater for Necroni Swimo that I never got around to. Yeah, I didn't cast it on yet. I don't even know where my needles are at this moment. So it is still here. This is that beautiful sea glass yarn, but it did make it to Maine, and it's definitely going to be turning into a sweater. So yay for that. I love this so much. This is sea glass dyed by Sherry and Terry of Lonesome Pine Yarn Works for Olive and 2U. Beautiful sea glass on the bottom, and then on the top in Bronte. So yeah, I can't wait to get that on the needles once I find my needles. Absolutely. So today is Local Yarn Store Day. And if you don't have plans yet, I really encourage you to get out to your local yarn store. I don't have anything planned big for the day because we are still here and unpacking, but watch out for next year and for upcoming other yarny things happening throughout the year. Because once I get my feet on the ground and get settled, it's on. We're going to have loads of fun in the Yarny Use and lots of good things happening. Little Birdie told me that we've got a few Yarny Use meeting together this morning. So I hope they have a great time, and I hope we get to see some pictures. It's always fun when Yarny Use can get together in the wild. I love seeing those pictures. The shop is open. Definitely. I did not have new yarn. The newsletter was put together quickly last night on reflection. And I was really, I'll tell you, I was sitting here and I was a little down for a little bit because I was like, it's been a whirlwind week and I don't have a lot to add to the newsletter. And then I thought, you know what? The Yarny Use are one of the most supportive groups ever. And I'm so incredibly grateful for them. And I know that they're giving me the time and space to do what I need to do to get settled. And so then I didn't feel bad about it. I'm like, I'm just going to reflect on the week and just a quiet little update about what's happening here in Maine. And as we get settled, more things will be coming. We, of course, have our Scotland trip coming up in September. I cannot wait for the Scotland trip. So many good things happening there. It's going to be so much fun. We need to book our plane tickets now. Many of you already have. We haven't yet because we were uncertain where we were going to fly out of. We're going to fly out of Orlando. We're going to fly out of Boston. Well, now we're going to fly out of Boston. So now we've got to get our plane tickets booked. So many fun things happening in Scotland this year. And we're looking forward to seeing all of our vendors and having a great time traveling with the Yarny Use. So you all are amazing. See what I did there? You all. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Thanks for your support. And eventually I'm going to like wiggle my nose and not the dye studio. I don't dye yarn. The studio space will be all back put together and great fun things will be happening. So thanks for being here with me this morning. Thanks for indulging me with the whole Maine updates. And stay tuned. Great things are coming, and I'll see you guys in the Yarn Use. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.